Good morning friends, this is Yagyadev and I am presenting the current affair for the month of July. So we were discussing about various factors which makes the news headline in the month of July. First was we discussed about Digital India and various programs of Digital India and other perspective. Then we discussed about the space travel program. So in order to develop the travel in space and various travel mechanism, Government of India is pushing forward towards the space travel, and the space travel which was starting with help of America's space agency goes to the Kármán line. So we should look into the Kármán line. So it is a line near about 100 kilometers of the atmosphere, and it lies between the mesosphere and the thermosphere. So मेसोस्फीयर और थर्मोस्फीयर के बीच में जो लाइन रहेगी उसे बोलते हैं कार्मन लाइन, and this line is a designated area around the space of Earth that is built for the space travel program. So what is space travel? People usually go for travel and tourism in various states. बहुत सारी जगहों पे लोग यात्राएं करते हैं, ट्रैवल करते हैं. When people travel outside the Earth's sphere, that is between mesosphere and thermosphere, that is called as a space travel. Now what is the news that make it important is the process of developing a traveling during the space is very costly, and government is planning to make more investment in order to bring more surplus to the economy, and it is referred as the flight operation in the 100 kilometer altitude of the Earth's atmosphere, and it is provided by the orbit of 125 miles. Remember this fact, and screaming around 17,400 kilometers, which takes a huge leap for any space vehicle to orbit the Earth's atmosphere. So what is escape velocity? Escape velocity is a term that is a physics term, and in which any flight that is going outside the Earth's sphere enters into the space with a velocity at a minimum speed that leads to its introduction in the space, that is called as space velocity. Now what is suborbital flight? The flight which requires lower speed at having no height and depends on its own speed, that is called as the suborbital flights. Remember these small facts for your prelims as well as mains examination. Whenever you deal with all these things in your prelims question, which can be asked in prelims as well as mains point of view in UPSC. So remember these facts. And at the top of the flight makes an arc and goes around the Earth sphere and revolves around it. So जो लोग भी अंतरिक्ष में यात्रा करना जाना चाहते हैं, they can have their registration at the space office and they can go to travel. Various private agencies are also making these programs, such as Virgin Galactic is a private body that is made by Richard Branson, an entrepreneur, which deals with the spacecraft and stage vehicle of second stage. Second, it also deals with the rocket to propel the suborbital space and altitude that passes around the and above the Earth sphere. Remember this fact. Next is Blue Origin. So first is Virgin Galactic, second is the Blue Origin, which is controlled by the Amazon chief Jeff Bezos. First is Richard Branson, second Jeff Bezos, and third is the Elon Musk Tesla Motors. So what does Blue Origin does? Blue Origin provides the new Shepard rocket and a capsule combo to send 6 tourists to the space, and it provides a few minutes of weightlessness and then seeing the curvature on the planet returning to Earth. Now one of the major program of SpaceX that is developed by Tesla Motors with the help of its entrepreneur and the owner Elon Musk is that program that builds the entire atmosphere for developing the space travel and putting the private sector investment in the space travel, making the space travel more cheaper and more cost effective. Further, SpaceX also developed various programs for the Mars mission, for the Moon mission, as well as the solar mission also. So SpaceX again become very important also in terms of Falcon rocket, which is used to travel for 10 days trip in the International Space Station 2021. Remember this fact for your prelims as well as mains. India's venture into space. So what does India cost for traveling into space? So India has developed various programs through ISRO, that is Indian Space Research Organization, vis-a-vis Gaganyaan and Mangalyaan. So Gaganyaan mission treks primarily into the space and entered the space tourism for the first time by India. So भारत ने पहली बार अंतरिक्ष यात्रियों की पहल की कैसे? By Gaganyaan program. Remember this fact for your prelims. गगनयान के द्वारा स्पेस ट्रैवल स्टार्ट किया गया इंडिया के द्वारा. And India endeavors with the space tourism with the numerous positive effect. It makes people to look into other aspects of travel and tourism across the world and the outer atmosphere. Further, it looks into the various perspective of expressing the laws and legislations of the space governance, including the space tourism. So we will look into certain laws which govern the space tourism that is made by United Nations. Now, other news which makes the headline is the biological data. What is the biological data? Any information that is carried inside your body protein chain, friends. So we are a living animal, and any living animal carries a protein chain in forms of synthesized amino acid proteins. That amino acid proteins inside your body and brain carries your DNA and RNA information. That information coded inside your DNA and RNA, whatever you read, write, learn, inherit, that are all the forms of biological data, friends. That data remains very important because that is a part of your private data that is inside your body, and it is your body right as a part of human right as well as a constitutional right under Article 21. So why this is a news? So this data makes highly complex chain of structure in your body, and it varies with the data of other synthetic products which are used by the online platforms such as Google, Microsoft and Apple. So these companies are using your personal data. So again, it's a personal data issue, personal data protection under Article 21 of Constitution of India. So what is the issue? Use of optimal uses of resources. Whatever the resources that are provided inside your body, that is a form of data, and that needs to be optimally utilized and responsibly utilized by any of the agencies which are taking your personal data. Further, it optimizes the maximum benefits from investment made in generating data, leading to the prevention of duplicacy efforts. So आपके डेटा की यूनिकनेस ऐसी होती है that cannot be copied or that cannot be duplicated. That is why when your data is taken by Google and when your data is taken by WhatsApp, Facebook and other such online platforms that are sold inside the market by these agencies in order to deliver and prescribe the products which you need to have your commodification and your material requirement for your development. So ये सारे डेटा को प्राइवेट कंपनीज यूज करती हैं. It provides the reduction of unintentional errors which are making the guessworks, lost details and maintaining the detailed documentation of your day-to-day activities, your passing out certificate, your passing of college, your places of travel, your places of worship, your each and every activities, fooding, lodging, whatever you do, that are all stored in the forms of this data. Remember this fact. Then it also has an ease of finding. Posing this data, government can detect whatever document or banking certificates or any kind of mark sheet certificate that are provided to you. If they are lost, they can be easily calculated and restored. So there is an ensuration of findability and fidelity. Now social benefits are also there. How the social benefits? Suppose you are using a social platform, say Instagram or Facebook, then your data is socially protected by using certain apps by certain private bodies. Localization of data and centralization of data again caters a main part of the government program and policies in which centralized data has been put inside the government repository. That means when there is your data and that is put inside a digital store, say government reserve bank store, then that data can be used by the government agencies. That again raises the issue of privacy. So this is again then data sharing is also to introduce the transparency and reproducibility of your data. Now, what is nucleic acid vaccines? Recently, we saw that COVID-19 production uses vaccination at massive level, vaccination and booster doses. So, what is nucleic acid vaccines? Recently, Jadis Candela company has approached Drug Controller General of India for ZyCoV-D. You remember that when you were facing the corona challenges, there was a medicine introduced by the company that was ZyCoV-D. So, इस मेडिसिन को आप याद रखेंगे, ZyCoV-D मेडिसिन जो कि जाइडस कैंडेला के द्वारा बनाई गई थी, and that was in the plasmid DNA vaccine. Again remember that was a plasmid DNA vaccine. So how this nucleic acid vaccine works? Let us have a look. So there is a DNA vaccine and there is an RNA vaccine. So DNA vaccine works for the electroporation via electrode and coronavirus spikes genes. So as the coronavirus spikes into your body, that is controlled by this electrode that is producing electroporation, creating the pores membrane, leading to increase in uptake of DNA into your cell. Whenever such vaccines are introduced in your body, say in your entire body cells, then your body is catered by a certain kind of protection mechanism, and that protection mechanism is done by this amino acid cell. Then it caters the cell to develop into a nucleus, and that goes into the mRNA and leads to the viral protection. So वायरस से protection के लिए ये आपको मदद करती हैं. Similarly, in RNA we see that ribonucleic acid is there, and this acid goes to the coronavirus spike potential that leads to the immunity response and protection of your body. So RNA and DNA vaccines both work on your body amino acid proteins that are stored in your body, created by your body cells, and that is stored in your brain, leads to development of your immunity. So what is the core concern, friend? It is the immunity, and encompasses lipid coat can enter into the cell, and DNA and RNA vaccine based on safe and easy to develop to the produce them involves making genetic material only, not the virus, but they are unproven, not licensed vaccines use this technology. So core concern is the licensing of such vaccines. Okay. Remember this diagram for your prelims and mains point of view. Very, very important. Next part is advantage of nucleic acid vaccines that we see recently, which creates your body immunity boost up by safe and non-infectious process. So as these vaccines are safe and non-infectious, so it neither creates any kind of disaffections and any kind of changes in your body cells, that leads total protection, and it is also protecting from pathogens particles. Further, it can generate a stronger type of immunity. So first is development of a stronger immunity, second protection from pathogens, and third is production into a rapid form as the eggs
और बैक्टीरिया